r/ask Reddit. What's the stupidest thing someone has argued with you about? My father, in his 80s, had a heart attack and fell over in the snow. He broke his ankle and so was in the hospital for an extended period. My mother could not be convinced that he did not do this on purpose to get out of a holiday that he wasn't too keen on. He had a ducking heart attack. You can't just decide to have one just to get out of something. Is he okay? No, they're still married. I almost got into fist fight with my best friend explaining the difference between a square and a rectangle. Well, you know what they say, be there or be rectangle. One that comes to mind is at my high school graduation. Our school photographer took a really good candid photo of this girl smiling up at the sky. I think we had just thrown our caps up there. They put it on the homepage of school website. A different girl I know swore the picture was of her, when it was clearly a picture of someone else. It was sad funny at the same time. She said they put this great picture of me on the website. We politely pointed out that it wasn't her. No, she was convinced it was her and wouldn't believe us. It was bizarre. I watched a couple break up over whether or not a chicken could be a pet. They got into this extremely heated argument, which led to them hitting each other. Eventually both of them turned to me and asked for my opinion. I said, why couldn't a chicken be a pet? I've seen videos of people having chickens as pets. The girl got pissed off at my answer and had to go have a cigarette to calm down. After that, she refused to talk to me because I sided with him. Volatile. This is the most petty argument I've read about, but honestly I would have loved to be there. I tried to tell my little brother that it was spelled sword not sword. I even broke out the Webster's Unabridged to prove it to him. His reaction? Haha, your dictionary spelled it wrong. As I am the younger sibling, I can remember making these dumbest comebacks when arguing with my sister. As the older sibling, ugh, give your sister a hug for not killing you. In Trivial Pursuit game I answered USS Eisenhower or some such in response to a question about ships, and the fool reading the questions insisted I was wrong because the card said the USS Eisenhower. This was early in the game. I told her definite articles and conjunctions didn't matter, but she held firm. Other players, including her husband, were afraid to oppose her. I gave ridiculous made-up answers for the rest of the game. I would have walked away after that. I was watching Escape from New York. My friend got really mad that Snake Plissken was just a rip-off of Solid Snake from Metal Gear. He refused to accept the fact that Escape from New York came out like 17 years earlier and Solid Snake was inspired by Plissken. Someone I work with said if they can't see drops of water on coming from something then it isn't wet. I got a damp cloth and asked if it was wet. No, there isn't any drops coming from it. So I wrung it out and got more water out of it. They didn't want to argue anymore. Imagine being that stubborn and then completely annihilated. Don't go overboard with stubbornness, folks. He claimed that when you cut down a tree they immediately release all the carbon dioxide they have ever absorbed, hence trees are useless at carbon sequestration. There would be so many dead lumberjacks. My mother has argued with me over if we are currently arguing. I told a co-worker that I was taking a class in archaeology and was pretty interested in majoring in it. He insisted archaeologists dug up dinosaurs. I explained, no, that's a really common mistake. Paleontologists dig up dinosaurs. Archaeologists deal with human stuff. Dude got really defensive and doubled down, quizzing me on random dinosaurs facts that he probably didn't know either, and said I would never make it as an archaeologist if I didn't know those things. His final statement was, well, what if you're digging up a building and you find a dinosaur skull? Huh, what are you going to do then? Before walking out, like dude, you would call someone else who knows about said dinosaur? Also, if I'm digging up a building and a ducking fossil from the Mesozoic era is there we've dug too deep. Dude just couldn't accept he had made a mistake. That filtering water is unnecessary and dumping all our waste into the rivers is fine because the water cycle takes care of it. I hope he enjoys his water with a side of giardia. Some kid tried to argue with me that babies came out of the butthole. I had a 30-minute argument with a roommate once because he didn't believe a canoe was a boat. What did he think it was? That a canoe was a canoe. Full stop. He believed that boats can only be motor powered, so everything else that is propelled by a sail Or, etc was their own thing. He walked away when I asked him to explain sailboats lol. Someone refused to believe that my brother and I are not identical twins. We're fraternal twins. Their argument was that we look the same, so we had to be identical. I tried to tell them that it wasn't something you can disagree with because it's ducking science, but they weren't having that. Why would you know SMH? They're obviously right. For though these people annoy me the most, even with scientific proof or proof from you they still think they know you better than you know you. That Vatican City wasn't a country after multiple Google searches. The whole class agreeing that it was and even a geography teacher telling him it was. His response? I still don't think it is because I can have my own opinion. Got into an argument that Mises is not the plural of moose. In high school we were playing a Jeopardy game and one of the questions was the Treaty of Versailles ended this war to end all wars. I said World War I, everybody else said WW2. It culminated when my friend asked me to peek at why would they call a World War I the war to end all wars if World War II happened? I just responded with because they didn't know World War II was going to happen. We missed that question and the other team got it. That cheese is in fact dairy and comes from a cow, despite it looking nothing like milk. I wish I was kidding. We were in class and potatoes came into the conversation for whatever reason, but she said that potatoes were made in a factory and she was starstruck when we told her that potatoes are a plant and grow in natural environments. How to pronounce my last name? I've got a very uncommon last name. However, it's common for the area I'm in. You can tell who is from here and who isn't by the way they say my last name. Anyway, I had someone argue with me over how to pronounce it. Someone else never corrected them, so they thought they were right. No, we've just gotten tired of correcting people, so unless it's really important, we don't. But this person didn't believe me. That blood doesn't smell. Yes, it most certainly ducking does smell. Ever sniffed a penny? That's what blood smells like. Had they never had a nosebleed, blood in their mouth from losing a tooth, I would have been so frustrated. Someone tried to argue that east was actually this direction, despite us having a literal compass. That idiot was me. Whether or not Timbuktu is a real place, my kids insist I made it up. I've shown them maps and websites to prove it's real, but they still think I made it up. Along the same lines, I thought Albuquerque was a made-up place that Bugs Bunny said, until I was 13 and a friend said it was the capital of NM. I told him it was Santa Fe. Someone started an argument claiming that if identical twins are separated at birth and raised by different families, then they're not twins anymore. My mother argued with me about the hours of operation for the retail chain I've been working at for 10 years at the time. She thought they were closed on a particular holiday, but in reality they only close on Christmas, half days on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, not that particular day. Eventually I turned to my father and told him to ignore mom and go to the store to get chips or carrots or whatever it was the party was low on, which was the catalyst for the argument. They were open. Dad got the snacks, and I was left feeling like my mom had no idea what I do for a living. I sincerely hope it wasn't even one of those holidays like MLK Day or President's Day, where banks are closed but nothing else is, like St. Patrick's Day or Cinco de Mayo. I told someone from church about a pen pal sending me foreign music. She was worried that I might be listening to sexual lyrics without realizing it, and subconsciously poisoning my mind with harmful thoughts. I disagreed. Oh, life in the Bible Belt. Someone tried to convince me that they could run a mile in 3 minutes. After I called her out saying the fastest was 3 minutes and 43 seconds, she then argued that the fastest mile was actually 1 minute. Someone once tried to convince me that Nicolas Cage was in the Fellowship of the Ring. I was like, do you know what the Lord of the Rings is? Elves, hobbits, Gandalf? Are you sure that you know who Nicolas Cage is? Like, are you confusing him with Viggo Mortensen? No. I was pulled into an argument with someone that agreed with me, but just didn't like the way I said it. It had to be said his way. The majority of my arguments with my wife. I had an argument with a sub-teacher about my name. I have a name that is gender neutral, but it can also be a nickname for some girl names. It was 10th grade and our teacher had just had the names each kid asked to be called by in her book for roll call. So the sub was asking each kid for the first name. When she got to me, she was saying that there is no way that was my real name, it was only a nickname and she would not call me by it. After several others told her it was my name and this lady still trying to say that there was no way a parent would give a girl a boy name, I got up and walked out of class to the office and told them to call her and tell her what my legal name was. Because she was too stupid to listen to me and I was not going to have her calling me something else. I'm named after my grandpa and proud of it. I got her apology when I got back to class. Back in high school, my friend was trying to tell me Alaska was its own country and Guam was a state. There's this girl in my class at school and she thought Alaska was in Europe. She also thinks that a B grade stands for bad and A grade stands for average. I was eating a pickle at lunch in high school. I referred to my pickle for some reason in the conversation. My friend said, "That's not a pickle." It was a pickle, a normal, big crunchy dill pickle. It looked exactly like the pickle you're picturing right now. I asked her what she thought it was, and she said it was a cucumber. I said that she was right, but that it was also a pickle. She disagreed. I asked her what she thought a pickle was, then, if not the thing in my hand. She couldn't answer. It was the weirdest argument ever. Around 4th grade, I was at lunch, and I saw my friend take my Butterfinger out of my lunchbox and she spent the entire 20 minutes trying to convince me it was hers. In 5th grade, a classmate stole a pencil from my backpack and refused to admit it. My name was engraved on the pencil. My mother insists that fish aren't animals, that they are their own kingdom like fungi or plants. We were out to dinner and I insisted that we ask our waitress what she thought, to get some support. She said, "Oh, this is perfect. I'm a bio major actually, so I know she's right. You'll learn about it in college." And 8 years later, here I am on the other end of college. My mother still pridefully reminding me how she beat me at that argument. My cousin also believes that if her parents never met, she would still be alive, just in 2 different bodies. I didn't want to touch that one though. This family is a can of worms. My ex-girlfriend and I got into a pretty heated argument about where the bedsheets should be stored. Personally, I just thought that her putting them down with the canned foods in the kitchen didn't seem to make as much sense as putting them with the curtains and towels in the bathroom. But apparently that makes me an idiot. You're both morons. Clearly, sheets have to be stored in the fridge or oven to keep them cool or hot when you want to use them, depending on the season. On whether I've seen a particular movie or not, I tell her I'm recording Thelma and Louise because it's about time I've seen it, and she tells me I already have. She remembers we watched it together. I know for sure that we did not. There's no way the entire movie erased from my memory. I never won that argument when it happened. Fine. Then I'm watching it again if that makes you happy. I worked at a startup that was quite abusive and toxic. This girl was going on about how eating baby animals is sad. I agreed. I said that's why I don't eat veal. Then her and this other girl ganged up and told me that veal was deer. I then say that this is venison, not veal. Veal is baby cow. They laughed at me and told me I was wrong. Whatever. Then she started going on about how I'm a hypocrite anyway because I eat eggs all the time. At this point I was pissed. I tried to explain how eggs can be unfertilized, but I'm the office idiot at this point. About a month later I was in for my review. My numbers were fantastic and I definitely deserved a raise, and I was told that my behavior at times was disrespectful, with this exact instance being referenced, because both girls were my superiors. Marital fights are a special kind of stupid. My wife and I got into a fight over how much is too much dishwashing soap on a sponge. Another time she thought that I had put used Kleenex in my in-law's car ashtray, which I didn't and wouldn't. I showed her the empty ashtray. This offended her. She said something nasty and I replied in turn and started a fight. Since then she's gotten slightly better on picking fights and I have gotten slightly better on not playing tit for tat. I got an argument when I was around 8 that some ants have wings and some don't. That was the whole argument. This kid absolutely refused to believe that some ants have wings. It ended with him headbutting me. I spent a lot of time arguing online with a guy over several things. He kept moving the goalposts. whether taxes were higher in the US than most other rich countries. I told him they're not and linked to a source. Then whether taxes were at an all-time high in the US historically. I told him they're not and linked to a source. And more dumb shit like that. Like how getting a raise means you'll get taxes more and subsequently wind up with less take-home pay. You won't. That's not how progressive taxes work. It's never worth arguing with an idiot, folks. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.